engineering. We don't have a human face. We're engineers. We don't do that kind of stuff. Well, I have one thing to say to that. That's absolutely right. If you think that just because you're an engineering company, you can't be human, then you're wrong. And one of the examples I'm going to give you is that we had a client in process engineering. They build things like biodiesel plants. They had about $300,000 that they were spending on marketing every year. Trade shows, direct mail, direct sales. And it really wasn't working for them. And they took a leap of faith and they moved all that money into digital marketing. And they took $75,000 and they spent it on building a new website, doing some marketing, search engine optimization, all digital stuff. They built a blog, they became thought leaders, they talked about what they knew, they talked about themselves as engineers, as solution providers. We're human beings and we're the ones that solve the problems. We're the ones that design the factories. We're the ones who figure out the solutions to the problems that our clients bring us. They weren't just numbers. And these guys closed a $15 million deal the other day. And that's entirely through their blog. Somebody found them on the blog, or found an article they had written on the blog, read it, was impressed, picked up the phone, called the CEO. Next thing he's on a plane, signing a $15 million deal. So they saved themselves $300,000. They spent a little to get themselves to where they needed to be. And they made $15 million out of it. It's just, it's one of those stories that makes you think, well, even if you are a boring engineer, you still have this possibility of living in the world where most of us live every day, which is blogs and Twitter accounts and Facebook accounts. So now we're going to go over to what you guys sent us, and that's all you submitted, all of your sites to us. We took a look at them, we redesigned a bunch of them, we ignored some of them because we didn't have enough time, so I apologize for that. We had, I think, like 40, 50 submissions, so we're a little overwhelmed. But we're going to take a look at the sites that we've done. If you did submit your site, please stand up or put your hands up so I can see which of you are still here. Okay, great, thank you. Okay, these are just some of the sites that were submitted in the last couple of days. You guys here? Okay. Not sure exactly what these guys do based on this site. And I'll ask my panel, you guys can stand up and take a look. Just to point out as well, this site uses quite a lot of Flash. The logo is in Flash, that's why you can't see it, because it kind of rotates between being there and not being there, so depending whether you're looking at the right moment or not. And all the navigation is in Flash, so it's invisible to search engines right now. So, Chris, Roy, Dave, tell me what you would do if you found this site, apart from throw up a little bit in your mouth.
Other than that, yeah, so first of all, the largest thing on the page is the other customer, so their customer, so I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at a bunch of logos. And the last thing I look at is business continuity planning to safeguard against disasters, which is probably what these guys do. They do. That's probably what they do, and then I have no idea why I'm looking at news on the homepage.
I mean, you don't want to read the news about them?
No, probably not. Ever.
I would say in terms of the news that's prevented, the news is actually labeled as a news, but if you even just take a look at the top one, it's not necessarily the news, it's still pushing a market message, which is get to know us, check out our latest events. It's still just a general kind of piece. It's not like we're looking at a live blog feed or a Twitter feed. This isn't fresh and relevant, information. So, I agree with David a lot. Where my eyes fall as soon as I looked at it is, I initially look at it and I go to the top left. So the first thing I said is, well, they forgot a logo or to tell them the company is, but because of Flash, but you got to figure, even just from that standpoint, it's highly likely that a lot of times people with something like this just going through, they're not even going to catch it, or there's going to be a problem. The next thing that I do is I notice the partners down at the bottom, which I don't know the size of this company, but let's talk about who their partners are. These are some pretty weighty. That's a nice list to be putting. And thinking about where this would come up, I don't know if this is on what browser on the folder. This might be something that's actually cut off. So to me, the most important thing that validates when I get to this point would be, wow, they're working with SAP, I mean, everyone's on this list. So obviously I got to the site for a reason. I'm looking for, I was probably looking in for disaster recovery, or I knew of them or something. That's what's going to validate this to me. Everything else is just noise. I think that also just the amount of text and just it just kind of washes away. And I'm not going to start with the navigation up top because I don't even know how to use it. And I know that, like,
You mean,
I wouldn't even know where to start.
on the first page?
Vertical navigation.
I don't get that. So, yeah.
Yeah, so to follow the point about the text a little bit, that was kind of my first impression. Even in the top area, there's 3 main sections of text that are all white on some kind of images. And it's hard to tell which one is the main one. I guess, yes, the one on the top right probably is really the description, but the one in the gray box is because it's so central and it's highlighted, that's sort of the one that attracts my attention. And that's just way too much, to read, and I didn't even notice that the one on the right is a customer profile because all these text areas look so similar, I don't even read the headline.
Right.
And the font of the headline also is typically smaller than the text, like that get to know us. It's so huge, it's blue, it's underlined, it's bold. You don't know what that is, to your point. And then I guess for me, ultimately, the impact of all that is the site is very bottom heavy. You look down at these sections, but what's the action, right?
Right.
What do you do outside of clicking one of those blue links? As you were saying, that the navigation at the top is wide and actually gets lost from all that. So it's very unlikely someone's going to look all the way down, look back up, and then find what they actually can do.
So for those of you who are taking notes, what Roy's point here about taking action, what do you want the audience to do? What kind of action do you want them to take? So they might be informed now, but now they don't know what to do with that information. So does your site have a call to action?
Did you take the screenshot on Mac?
I did.
Well, I mean, clearly they didn't test this, right? Because I assume on a PC that text is smaller, right? So, I mean, you have to be testing it on multiple platforms.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
the traffic shows it for sure, but like that, I mean, everything else is all images, so it all is pretty clear, but that, I bet you, wasn't tested.
Right. So we redesigned the site, and